This is Saturday Morning Mysteries.
And we're your hosts, Alexis and Grace.
Hello, good morning, day, afternoon. It's not Saturday probably when we're releasing this because this is Saturday Morning Mysteries, but this is a special Toon tangent. But first, we're your hosts. I'm Grace.
And I'm Alexis.
And a little Toon tangent is a little side bonus episode thing that we did once when we had more time on our hands, when we were young and innocent back then.
Starry-eyed little podcasters.
Starry little podcasters before we knew how much work it would really take to constantly do a podcast. So we would do little Toon tangents and crime capers, which were just, little bonus episodes where we just talked about random shit that we felt didn't fit in our main episodes. And so crime capers was just fun facts about crime or
true crime, like actual
crime,
real
actual
life crime.
True crime, not quote true crime that we use for our podcast. And Toon tangents just allowed us to talk about whatever cartoon shows we wanted to talk about that weren't crime related. And so today we're releasing a very special seasonal Toon tangent that I'm going to let Alexis explain what exactly we're doing here today.
Yes, well, it is something very different for Saturday Morning Mysteries, other than the fact that it has to do with cartoons. And if you're like me, and you're a very sports-minded person, you like sports, you like professional sports, college, like Alexis.
You're not like
and
Grace.
Not entirely like Grace. Even though it's funny because we met through sports,
that's true.
Gym class and rowing.
Yeah.
And here we are.
And tug of war.
And tug of war, exactly. Awesome, badass sports. But anyway, so if you're like me and you love sports, then you know that the NFL season just ended, NFL playoffs just ended, but one of the most popular, probably most commercially successful sports seasons or playoff seasons in American history is getting ready to begin. And that is NCAA March Madness. College basketball tournaments are about to start. Everybody's making their brackets. And, you know, Grace and I recently have been talking a lot about, well, what's our favorite theme song from all of the different shows we've covered? I think it mostly was us arguing, or not even arguing, debating Inspector Gadget theme song versus Darkwing Duck.
Yep.
And so my sports-minded brain said, well, what if we created a bracket tournament style single elimination to figure out of all the shows we've covered on Saturday Morning Mysteries, which one has the best theme song. So for those of you who have read the description of this video or the title of this video / podcast episode, you already know we decided to do March Madness edition theme song, cartoon theme song, tournament bracket. Single elimination rounds. We're going to settle the debate, the argument, the competition right here. Today,
right now.
This Toon tangent right here, right now. Dun, dun, dun. But the beauty of this all is that we're also going to provide the bracket to share with you all. So check out our social media at SatMornMist on Instagram, I believe, and
also we'll do
whatever.
Like a link in our bio or in the description here of this episode. I think I'm going to figure out a way to make this like an editable PDF and just have it like downloadable in some variety so that you can play along as well. We're going to go through, like Alexis said, like our decisions. We have not talked to each other yet about all of our picks, but we're going to go through and we would love both on, you can comment on podcast feeds, you can comment on YouTube, which where we'll most likely see it, or comment on Instagram, where this will also be posted, what your results were, if you agree with us, if you disagree with us, what your hot takes are, and keeping in mind the parameter of, yes, this is just shows we've covered so far. So if you're like, but this is the greatest theme song, we haven't covered it.
You're probably right, maybe, but it hasn't been on this podcast, so
we can't talk about it yet. Yeah,
exactly.
Sorry. And it just shows in our main
maybe we'll cover
feed.
it in the future.
Yes,
exactly.
Just the main feed. And let's give full credit to Alexis. She's the one who set up the the bracket, the who's
the
versus
seating.
who seating. See, as you can tell. We met in sports, but it was
Well,
rowing. We didn't play like
we don't do
basketball or
seating and rowing.
like
Although,
we
actually,
kind
you
of
kind of
do.
do seating and rowing with your lane placement, which lane you
Yeah.
go in is generally kind
I mean,
of,
in
yeah,
1v1 in like, yeah, seat racing, to get
exactly.
into
Seat
boats,
racing.
whatever. That's
Yeah.
just us being nerdy about this very exclusive
Yes.
sport. We didn't play basketball
We're
together or like
we're trying to
volleyball
make
together.
rowing sound way better than it was. Like, yeah, no, it's just like basketball and
It's
volleyball and
totally
football.
mainstream
Yeah,
sports.
yeah,
Yeah.
we
So
were
to
super
say
cool.
I'm sports minded is obscure sports minded.
Yeah. Yes. But that
So,
actually is a good point for people who aren't sports minded, because I guess if people are checking out this bracket on
mhm,
Instagram, or they're looking at this PDF that you've created, this editable PDF, they're probably like, "What the fuck are up with some of these matchups?" Well, let me tell you,
yeah.
the way seeding works in a tournament is that you look at a bunch of data from performance of a certain team to then place them or rank them like 1 through 8, we'll say, for
Hmm.
example, in their grouping of teams, right? And then what you have to do is you have to kind of weed out the worst teams rather and save the best teams to compete against each other later down the road.
Hmm.
So, listen, I'm not the one who came up with seeding, but usually someone who's first seeded, meaning someone who has the best expectations to win or had the best
Hmm.
performance in a season, is going to go up against someone who is eighth seeded, meaning the
Hmm.
worst performance of the best, you should say. They're still in the conference or in
Yeah,
the
they
championship. So
still
like,
made
hey,
it.
they're still there, but you're going to see the best go against the worst very often. You're going to see the second best go against like the second worst often. And then it's kind
Hmm.
of like the fourth and fifth end up being against each other. So don't be mad at me. I didn't create the seeding system. Blame like tennis or whatever sport created it however long ago. Okay. Not
Yeah,
me. So if you're seeing some of these matchups that you'll see, you'll be like, oh, that's too easy.
but that's
That's the way sports
why.
work. That's
Yep.
why. And we got to just root out the bad competition and get to the nitty-gritty of who is the best. So
Yep.
that's how this all works. That's how my mind came up with it. And it was based off of our number one seeds are based off of songs that Grace and I were just like, this is amazing.
No matter
No
what.
argument.
Yep.
Exactly. No matter what situation, this cartoon nailed the theme song. And number eight
Yep.
ones are ones where Grace and I were kind of scratching our heads, like,
Yeah.
okay, this is there.
Yeah.
It's not the
It's not
best, but
anything I'm writing home about, you know?
exactly, exactly. It's not something I'm replaying. It's not something I can whistle along to. It's
Yeah.
not something that like made a statement in the cartoon world as a
Yes.
song when
Made a
it came out,
splash.
right?
Yep.
So these are the factors that I was thinking of when seeding these and when
You did a great
placing
job.
different theme songs against each other. Thank you. So that
Yes.
little disclaimer aside, I don't know
Yes.
if I have any other business to get to before we start, but
Um,
you
I
may.
think my final thing before we dive in is I would love to hear, because again, we like separately took a look and a listen and that kind of stuff to all of these.
Mhm.
Um, I would love to hear how you approached it. Like, did you go with what's most iconic, what's most innovative musically, what's the catchiest and gets stuck in your head? For me, I was just like, yes to all of the above. And
Yeah.
like what made me feel the best when listening to it. And it wasn't always like what show was more nostalgic for me. It was
Hmm.
just like this is just me saying that I had no through line of how I made these decisions, but I have
Hmm.
explanations for every single one of them, but there is not one
Yes.
single like data point that I used.
Exactly. And I agree, which means that this is great that we measure or
Great.
use a similar like measuring system, if you will,
Yes,
because
of no system.
yes, exactly. That hey, the only rule is there are no rules, right, on this
Always.
podcast. Yeah,
Always.
I would say all sorts of those factors are thing. I tried to keep the show itself out of it though, if that
Yes.
makes any
Oh,
sense. Yeah.
absolutely.
Because like if I was thinking of it that way, then like I'm always going to vote for Scooby-Doo
Yes,
over whatever,
exactly.
basically, you know? So for me, it was like, just think about the music. How good of just a song is it? Like, is it
Yeah.
even a song for that
It's
matter?
very important. We will
Right?
discuss this.
Is it a song? How are the lyrics and or monologue? Because some of the theme
Lots of
songs, they don't actually
monologues.
have lyrics, but it's like a main character giving a monologue over music. And like, I'll still
Yeah.
count that as a song, I guess, but might not have as much impact
Yeah.
as like something that has legit lyrics and like an actual
Yes.
story in a song. And then like, yeah, just iconicness and like vibes. Like, did I
Yep.
want to listen to it again? when I listened to its competitor, was I still thinking of the first song? Like,
Yeah.
like, which one gets stuck in my head
Yep.
after listening to both of them? And which one just like made me like kind of bop around a little bit more
Yeah.
as I was like listening to it?
Yes.
I'd say that was
Beautiful.
the most important thing for me was just like the vibes when I finished listening to the song. What did I
Yes.
want to do next? Did I want to hit replay or did I want to
Yes.
move on to the next
To the
one?
next one.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yes, we're on the same page.
Hmm.
So
Excellent.
let's get started.
Here we go. Cool.
All right. Well, like you said, first versus last. It's kind of how it starts out
Hmm.
sometimes.
It is.
This
Yeah.
one's probably an easy decision for us, but I do think it's worth talking about each song. So our first one
Hmm.
is Darkwing Duck versus Mobile Mysteries.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thoughts?
And thoughts are, sorry for our 8 seed Mobile Mysteries. I mean,
Mm,
but I think most people watching will agree. Like it's a good song, but it's nothing like very special. It's kind of got this
yeah.
like surf rock kind of vibe going on to it with like
Yeah.
horror elements. But in turn, there's no lyrics really. Moville says
Yeah.
a couple things here and there, and it's just kind of it's not bad. I hate, I
Yeah.
felt kind of bad putting it as an 8 seed, but
Yeah.
as far as like this grouping
All
of
right.
songs goes, I
Feelings
was
are
like,
gonna get
it's
hurt. The songs are
they're
gonna get
gonna get
hurt.
hurt. Exactly. Just be happy that you made it to the tournament, okay? You
Exactly.
made
Be
it.
grateful.
Be grateful. But so I don't know. Do you want to talk about that one first before we talk about our number 1 seed?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, for Mobile Mysteries for me, like the theme song fits perfectly for the show. Yeah, like
Mm-hmm.
creepy surf rock is like how I would describe
Mm-hmm.
it. Of like it's eerie, it's spooky, it's creepy, but it's like a little too niche to like be a iconic theme song for all time, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And
That's a good
like
way of
you
putting it.
said, Mobile only says one line at the end. It's a great line, but yeah, no lyrics. I definitely I think connect more songs with lyrics. That's how it tends to work. Why there
Mm-hmm.
are lyrics, that's why they get stuck in your head. So yeah,
Yeah.
a good contender, but very niche just for this single show. And I mean, it was up against Darkwing Duck.
I know.
I mean,
Yeah. To be fair, anyone going up against Darkwing Duck has
it's gonna have
like
to fight.
that's a tough one. That's a
Yeah,
fight. That's a fight. So yeah, I guess. And on that note, we'll talk about Darkwing Duck then, which
have
is
at
our
it.
number 1 seed for this conference or whatever you want to say
Yep.
of cartoons. I mean, like if
A
you've heard the
perfect
Darkwing
song.
Duck theme song, it's a perfect song. Not just a perfect theme, it's a perfect song. The lyrics are
Yes.
banging. New Jack Swing, I think, is like the
Yeah, the like
the genre
genre.
of the music. Yeah, which
Yeah.
at that time was like bumping. It was super hot, very
Yep.
popular type of music. So like just the fact that Disney knew what the kids were listening to at that time and
Yeah.
was like, oh, we can use that and it'll get them engaged in this show from the jump. Not
Yes.
only is it clever from like a music production standpoint, but like it's just a good song. It's just a good
Yeah.
song.
Well, and two, I think I was thinking about it more with this song of like, this is also, it falls into the category of like, Disney called like a one person and was like, "Hey, could you do this theme song for this?" And they
Hmm.
said, "Say less." And they said, like they pulled like a Phil Collins on Tarzan situation. Like
Yes.
they gave
Piano
him the
on
grand
fire.
piano and then set on fire.
Yes.
Like energy,
Yes.
except like, a saxophone and other random instruments, like set on
Hmm.
fire. But I
Hmm.
think too, what for this song for me, like it starts out like just like I think like the journey that it takes you on through the theme song as well. Like it's not just one note. Like some of these theme songs we will talk about. Yeah, it's just like kind of one note the entire time. Like stays a little
Hmm.
flat. This one, it ebbs, it flows, and
Yeah.
like I think what puts like the cherry on top of this, it's like, yeah, the lyrics are great, et cetera. But the addition of let's get dangerous is like
Dangerous.
what, like,
Yes.
that's when the piano sets on fire for me.
Yeah.
It's like, like it's incredible. And then they throw that in, which is like also genius
Yeah.
of like, that's what the kids are gonna repeat. Like, Darkwing
Yep.
Duck. And like the
Yeah.
whole chorus is so catchy. And then the fact that they throw that in, like that's the most fun part to like
Yes.
repeat, and like throwing, his tagline in, like the superheroes tagline
The
in,
fact it's
just
his tagline, exactly.
yeah, just great
Cherry on top.
marketing, great subliminal messaging.
Yes, exactly.
Yes. So easy,
Yeah.
easy win for us.
Easy, I think so too.
Yeah.
Again, this is the point of seeding is
Get those
you
easy
gotta
ones in there.
let the exactly get the easy ones out, get the best ones, let them
Yep.
progress. And to be fair, again, for Mobile Mysteries, like I could put it up against any of the songs people will see once we post
Hmm.
this bracket. Obviously, any of the songs in this like on this half of the bracket, and
Yeah.
I still don't think it would beat any of
Yeah.
them
Mobile's not
anyways. So
moving
it's
forward.
just yeah, it's not. The beauty of Mobile Mysteries is in the stories of the episodes, not in like the
Yes.
music. It's not the theme music or anything that's
Yeah.
carrying that show. The
Yep.
Darkwing Duck theme music, not only in the intro, but you hear the theme music throughout the episodes
Exactly.
and stuff too. And it just ties it all together way more. And
Yeah.
like you said, it ebbs and flows. It's got verses, it's got a chorus, it's
Yep.
got a little like bridge, it's got Let's Get Dangerous.
I mean,
It wins
perfect.
this round for me. Yep.
Yep. All right. Do we go down now? Is that how sports
Yeah.
work?
Yeah.
Great. That's
Generally, yeah.
sports.
We could go over, but we can just go down
Okay.
and then, yeah. Is
All
that
right.
sports? I'm doing
That's is
sports.
this sports? Is this talking about sports? So
Yes.
our next mashup, which was really hard for me,
This was, yeah.
is Powerpuff Girls versus the original Totally Spies. Uh,
Yes. Good call. The original.
yes, theme songs.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, once we get into like, 3 and 4, 4 and 5, these are all gonna be, kind of closer rounds, like
Hmm.
2 through 5 type of thing. And
Yeah.
this one and the next one are both really hard for me.
Yeah.
I, so when I listen to these two, like the Powerpuff Girls intro or like their theme song, like the intro, like the spoken intro, like I could
Sugar,
recite that
spice,
and
everything
everything
nice.
nice. Like I could
Yes.
recite that in my sleep, from my grave, like you name it. I could
Hmm.
say that one. But, and both songs want me to be a badass superhero girly, like they
Yes.
both give that to
Yes.
me. But
Yeah.
in different ways. Like Totally Spies makes me want to do that, like Charlie's Angels style, like with my besties while being like hot and fashionable. While Powerpuff Girls makes me just want to punch someone, Like it
Yeah.
makes me just straight
Yeah.
up want to like kick someone's butt.
Yes.
Um, so, well, I would like to hear your opinions and then I'll tell you which one I got
Okay.
or which
Um,
one I landed on. This was a vibes one for me
Similar
though.
vibes. This one was mostly vibes because I feel like the Powerpuff Girl intro is very iconic. Like
Hmm.
you can ask basically any millennial, or you can start saying out loud to any
Right.
millennial like
Sugar.
sugar, spice,
Spies.
and they will finish it off and
Yeah.
everything nice. Like
Yeah.
everyone knows the Powerpuff Girls intro. But I think similarly to you, when you get to the music part, it is like it hypes you up,
Yeah.
but in that more like superhero comic booky kind of
Yes.
way,
Comic book. Yeah.
which is cool. That's fine. That's exciting. But on the other hand, the Totally Spies song, it's not, I wouldn't call it iconic really in any
Yeah.
way at all. But the music is amazing in it. When I
Yeah.
re-listened, when I re-listened to it for this, I was like, ooh, I wasn't expecting to put this ahead of the Powerpuff Girls in my ranking. But
Yeah.
when I finished listening to the Totally Spy song, I was like, I want to listen to that again because you have
Yes.
like a whole band performing and you actually have really good lyrics too. The lyrics are pretty
Yeah.
simple,
It could
but
just be
it's
a
just
song
like,
on a radio. Like it
it really
wasn't.
could.
Yeah. Like that's how good it
Yeah.
is.
Yes, the Powerpuff Girls song is like definitely a comic book action hero theme song. The Totally
Yes.
Spies theme song is like a Charlie's Angels, James Bond sort
Yeah.
of song, not even theme song, but just a
Yeah.
song like Grace said that you could hear on the radio.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that probably gives away what I came out of this round saying, but go ahead and say if you want
I
to go
mean,
first, who you have winning.
well, so it's funny because I wasn't sure where you would land either, but as always, we're the
Yeah,
same person.
same
I put
page.
Totally Spies first, which yeah, was a
Me too.
surprise for me because Powerpuff
Hmm.
Girls, the theme song is more nostalgic for me.
Yeah.
But Totally Spies, yeah, I listened to it again after I listened to it. It
Yeah.
was stuck in my head, and I was thinking back. I know we're obviously separating it from the show, but I was thinking back to our arcs and how many
Hmm.
times we would accidentally say, "All right, here we go," and then when I was going, "Here we go, here we
Here we
go,"
go. I
like
forgot that we did that. Yeah.
yeah, like it gets stuck in your head, like it's effective, and
Yeah.
like yeah, again, not as iconic as Powerpuff Girls, but it made me feel hyped in a way that I liked more. And
Hmm.
again, this was a vibes one for me. The vibes were better, got stuck in my head,
Yeah.
etc.
Yeah. Same.
So,
It's a song that I would want to put on a playlist actually and like bump in the car
yes.
compared to Powerpuff Girls. Gets me
Yeah.
excited to watch the show, but not something
And
that I'm
that's
like,
where it
what'd you say?
stops.
I'm not writing home about it.
Yeah, I'm not telling
You
my
know?
mom about it, you know?
Yeah.
All
Cool.
right, so the next one was
Another tough
also
round coming
challenging,
up.
and I'm very
Hmm.
excited about what you said for this.
Yes.
So we've got Chippendale Rescue Rangers versus Tailspin. This
Hmm.
one was an insane mashup to, or like matchup
It
to me.
was. It was. So when I first made the bracket too, I thought that this was going to be the one that like really made us like debate
Yeah,
or kind of like put some pause in us.
yeah.
But when I was actually filling it out, the last round was more complex for me than this round, I
Oh,
will say.
interesting. Okay,
Yes.
this was the hardest one for me, I think.
Was it
One
real?
of the
Okay.
hardest.
So
Yeah.
yeah. So for me, I think that the Rescue Rangers song it, it is iconic but underrated, if that makes
Mm,
sense. It's one of those
yes.
ones where when you hear it, you're like, oh, of
Oh,
course. Like back
yes.
then, like 90s, 80s kids, of course, this was getting kids excited to watch the show,
Yes.
but you don't hear about it that much now. But I think that goes for Rescue Rangers as a show in general. I feel like it's
Yeah.
kind of underrated.
Underrated.
Tailspin, I feel like is less underrated, if that makes sense. It's
Yes.
people have more nostalgia about Tailspin,
Mm.
but the song, I gotta be honest, re-listening to it, I don't hate the song, but
Oh,
it
which one?
actually Tailspin,
Oh,
but it
okay.
actually I don't want to say it was annoying, but it was one where I was just like, okay, it's
Yeah.
I would be annoyed if it got stuck in my head. Let me put it that way.
Oh, yes.
Whereas there are other songs where I love getting it stuck in my head because it's
Right.
fun to whistle along. But Tailspin, I don't think that the lyrics aren't offering much. So when it gets stuck in your
Mm.
head, you're just kind of saying, oh, yo, like
Yeah, and
over
like
and
that's kind of
over
it.
again.
Mm.
Yeah, which is catchy. But as
Yeah.
far as like an overall song goes, it doesn't have the same impact on me, I
Oh,
guess, as the Rescue
interesting.
Rangers song does. I feel like the Rescue Rangers song is a more complete song. It tells you the
Yes.
story about the Rescue Rangers, these two
Yes.
gumshoe detectives somehow
Oh, gumshoe
always
detectives.
they're so cute. Yeah. So I
Okay,
don't know. What are your
interesting.
thoughts? Hmm.
Yeah, so I first of all, I was like, Disney just brought in like the same person to do these songs for sure.
Yes,
Like
also true.
they're Disney knew what they were doing here for both of them, and
Hmm.
they did it for sure.
Hmm.
And for me, like Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers is like a little more peppy. It's a little more hopeful. Like you said, these, you know, up by their bootstraps detectives, these two
Yeah.
scamps and their friends will always figure it out. So like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a little more hopeful. And yeah, like you said, like there's a little more story in it
Hmm.
happening. Tailspin felt a little more adventurous and
Yeah.
like had a little more soul, I think, in it. And I really struggled with this one. I ended up actually picking Tailspin
Did
because
you? Okay.
how they break it down at like
You do
the
love that
I
breakdown. I
do
remember
love
you
that
commenting
breakdown.
on that.
It's just
Yeah.
so unexpected and
With like the
unnecessary
rapping
for
almost.
a
Yeah.
TV show.
That is
Like,
true. I forgot. Yeah. I forgot how much you
but
love that breakdown.
I love that breakdown, and we do our OEOs often. But
We
I will
do.
say, again, I can be swayed on this because, like, the second I hear sometimes, like,
Yeah.
from the first word
Sometimes.
of Rescue Rangers, I'm like filled with hope and friendship.
Yeah.
So,
Hmm.
I'm open for either one on this one. I can go
Yeah.
Rescue Rangers easily.
See, so I'm open as well
Oh, no.
because especially now that you've reminded me of the iconicness of that break. For me, I think when I was re-listening to them, I don't want to say I tuned out the break, but I
Yeah.
I think I listened to Rescue Rangers before, and I still had Rangers stuck in my
They're
head when I was
yeah.
listening to Tailspin. Because, like you said, when you hear that intro, like the dun 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 dun, it's just it's honestly. So you say that break in the Tailspin theme is too
Yeah.
over the top. I think that the whole Rescue Rangers song is over the top, actually. In hindsight, it's like
Yeah, for like
it's the
what the show
most
is.
intense. Exactly. Yeah, for what the show is, a show about
Yeah,
two chipmunks and a bunch of rodents solving crimes. It's the most like cinematic,
that's a
over the
good
top.
point.
That's another one where like the piano's on fire. Like,
Yes.
hey, we're doing this cute little show about some chipmunks,
Yes.
Chippendales, based off of the Chippendales, like
Yeah.
about them solving mysteries and goofing around. Nothing like super casual. Just come
Yeah.
in, make a theme song real quick. We'll wire you the money. Super easy. Oh,
Oh. Yeah.
really?
I
Can I
feel
bring
like
my entire orchestra with me?
you know what? I think you're right because I think I was like with Tailspin, the like little rap part was like unnecessary and unexpected for just that moment. The rest of the song
Yes.
like feels correct for Tailspin. But you're right. I feel like Disney was like, look, we have these 3 seconds, which is Chip and Dales. Could you do something with that?
Something around that.
Just a quick little jingle, okay? And they were like,
Yeah.
I've never done something quick in my life.
I don't do jingles here. Okay.
Yeah. I'll
He
jingle
like
my
pulls out
coin
a
purse that
whole
you'll
book.
fill, but that's
Yeah.
it.
With the royalties that this
Yes.
masterpiece is gonna
Yes.
make.
So I think you're right. It is unnecessarily extra and cinematic for, again, I guess we said we'd separate it from the show, but even just watching like the visuals
Yeah.
of the theme song, like it's them
Yeah.
doing like,
Normal Chippendale shit, like fucking
yeah,
up investigations. I forget what
and
the
like
name of their
hugging
little
each other
jet
as
is.
friends.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. Eat Monty eating food,
yeah,
Gadget
eating
rolling her
cheese.
eyes or something. Yeah. And I
You know
forget
what?
what their little
Yeah.
like plane thing is, but they're super janky, like
Yes,
junkyard
yes.
makeshift plane, like
Yeah, like
flying
roller
through a
skate shit.
storm. Yeah,
Yes.
with like this insane music playing over
Yes.
top of it, like
No, I
orchestra,
think
synthesizers. Yeah.
yes, I think you're right. That is a great point. And that one, yes, let's move
Yeah.
Chip Rescue Rangers on
All
because
right.
you're right. This was so over the top what it was.
It's like
And that is
insane
important to
how
me.
it yeah.
Really important to me.
That's an important factor in this tournament. Like,
Yes.
given what the show is, why
Yeah.
is this the theme song? And I feel like that's something we touched on when we covered that show too. Like, this theme song
Probably,
does
yeah.
not match the show in the best
No.
possible way ever.
Exactly. Really,
Yeah,
that's what gets you in though.
exactly.
All right.
Cool.
So our next one was also a challenging one, of course. We've
Hmm.
got Courage the Cowardly Dog versus What's New Scooby-Doo. So we do have a couple of Scooby-Doos on here, but we
Yes.
are really specific about which iteration of Scooby-Doo we're doing. So yes, this one is What's New
Yes.
Scooby-Doo. Yeah, you said this one was challenging for you, especially. So
Hmm.
let's hear you break it down. Tell me
Yeah.
your journey.
So, or oh no, when I said the last one, I meant like the previous one, meaning the Totally
Oh,
Spies
okay.
Powerpuff Girls one.
Because I
This
was
one
like,
was still hard for me, but
this one was easy
not
for
as
me.
hard. Yeah.
Okay, great. I was like, this
It
one
was
I
hard.
was
It was
easy.
hard just because I don't like saying no to courage. That's the
Yeah.
only reason why.
Feelings are gonna
But
get hurt,
I
Alexis.
know they are. That's just be happy that you're in the tournament. Just be happy you made
Just be
it here.
happy you made it.
Um, yeah, no. This one was probably it was the second easiest because again, I put What's New Scooby-Doo as the number two seed. So
Yeah.
after Darkwing Duck, because dude, fucking Simple Plan. What more do you need to say? If you're you brought Simple Plan in to do a
To a
theme song?
banjo with a spoken intro.
Yeah, sorry. Exactly. Like a monologue intro with a newscaster who's hardly even in the show. Come
Yeah.
on. Like again, I
Yes.
love it. Courage is iconic in its own way. It's
Yeah.
iconic in ways similar to the Powerpuff Girls, where like you remember
Yeah.
the monologue at the beginning explaining the story of how we
Yeah.
got to this show. But yeah, like Grace said, it's just a fucking banjo and like some really weird singing, like moaning
Yeah.
singing in the background, which is kind of
Yes.
unsettling, but like in a very courage
Yes.
appropriate way.
Appropriate way.
Yeah.
Yeah. My notes for this was like, yeah, similarly, like an iconic spoken intro, which is great. We love the banjo. it's a little lackluster in the theme song aspect.
Hmm.
And here's my other note is it's 2002. We're 10 years old.
Yes.
We're at
Oh,
FYE or in the back of Barnes and Noble. We
big
see
facts.
a simple plan, CD, mind you. It's maybe
Hmm.
one of our first ones because we're 10 years old and we're just starting to buy CDs. And
Yeah.
then later that day, maybe that Saturday morning, you turn on Cartoon Network. And who
Oh,
do you
yeah.
hear again? The same people from the CD you just bought.
Yes.
Like,
Insane. You
they
love
hit
it.
us with
10-year-old
this.
us loves it. Hmm.
Yeah, this one was easy for me. I was like, sorry,
Yeah.
Courage.
Sorry,
Love you, hun, but
but yeah,
move it.
it is. Move it. Sorry. Yeah, we
Yeah,
agree. What's
you
new,
can sing
Scooby-Doo?
along, you can rock along. It makes you feel like you're part of the
Hmm.
gang. And like,
Exactly. You want to hear it again. The
yes,
bridge is
I replayed
amazing.
it. The
Yep.
fact that Two Simple Plans still hams it up for Scooby-Doo to this day, like
Hmm.
they know they created a banger with this one.
They
They
know.
know that
Yeah.
they went above and beyond with this one.
Like,
Like,
I know I can only think of a handful of Simple Plan songs off of the top of my head right now, including
yeah.
this one, but this is probably like their second best song as of, of
Yeah,
all
it's probably like the most
like,
long-lasting song because Scooby-Doo
yeah.
fans, whether they knew it was Simple Plan or not, know this
Yeah.
song. Like not
Exactly.
just because we're millennials and also like listened to that genre at this age and
Yeah.
beyond, obviously. Yeah,
Yeah.
this one was easy peasy for
It was
me.
easy. Yeah. You
Yeah,
were
one of the
concerned when
best.
you thought I meant this one was hard. You're like, I
Yeah,
would love to hear your explanation.
I was like,
Why?
wow,
What
she
is
really,
courage hiding?
yeah, I was like, I mean, she really loves Courage the show, but like, she also loves Scooby-Doo the show. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
let's hear it, Alexis.
Let's
Let's
hear
hear
it.
it.
Maybe she has something to say.
Change
No,
my
you would have
mind.
changed my mind easily. Exactly. You would have changed my mind very quickly. Yeah.
Yep, yep.
Boom. So there we have it.
Amazing.
First conference, the first
Yes.
round done.
Yep.
Awesome.
And we'll bop over. So we're back. So we're on the other side now, back to,
Hmm.
number one versus eight here. So we've got
Hmm.
Inspector Gadget with the Funky Phantom. I mean, is this a
This
discussion?
was the easiest one in the entire. This was somehow easier than the last, than the Courage versus What's New
Yes.
Scooby-Doo round.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Again.
here, I will, we obviously know our answer to this one, but I will comment
Hmm.
on Funky Phantom and what it
Yeah.
does. Like, it, similar to Mobile Mysteries, Funky Phantom theme song is perfect for the show that it was.
Yeah.
Like, it was a 70s show, so it was like a little groovy. It also was kind of a jingle. We talk about another 70s show on this conference, and like they're all kind of jingles, or maybe like 70s, 80s
Hmm.
shows are kind of more jingle
Yeah.
hits. Um, Also, I did note that, just like the show, the aspects that include Mudsie are absolutely unhinged. So it's fitting for the
Yeah,
show.
that's right. He has a
It's the
he has
Funky
a vocal feature.
Phantom.
Yeah. In the spirit of 76 even. Woo.
Exactly. So like
Mudsie. God, I love
it
him.
did, I know I do miss Mudsie. It was correct for the show Funky Phantom. Does that mean it's a song that should move forward? Not necessarily.
No, especially
Just
not
like,
against Inspector Gadget.
especially not like Spectral Gadget. Like,
Yeah.
it's got funk, it's got synth, it's got a drummer who was paying
Hmm.
rent that month for sure.
For sure.
It takes us on another journey. It is so full of
Hmm.
pageant or passion. And go,
Hmm.
get, go! Like
Go. Yeah.
we talked in depth in our first or one of maybe our third Inspector Gadget episode about this, but like
Hmm.
easy.
It's a great song.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the Funky Phantom, like you said, while it does its job of introducing the Funky Phantom and like
Yes.
showing the different characters,
Yes.
it's just
It's not.
it's not great. It's
It's not.
nothing.
It's
uh,
not. The 70s ones have, a journey that they go on.
They do. They do. Scooby-Doo was an exception for the
Yes,
70s
you're right.
for
You're
real.
right.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, Inspector Gadget wins this one, and I think any
Yeah.
reasonable mind would agree.
Yes. Yeah, I feel like because I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, like this one and like, when we talked about Mobile Mysteries, Darkwing Duck 2, similarly, I was like, we didn't really talk that much about like the winner. And I feel like it's because we're like, just go listen to it.
Yeah, exactly. You'll know. Yeah.
You'll know
Well,
immediately.
and because I think if we know, the two of us know which one is going to win, like we're going to talk about Darkwing Duck more when we match it
Right,
up
like
with
it's gonna
Totally
come
Spies
through.
now. So it's like, yeah,
Yes.
we'll weed out the bad ones here, but
We'll
yeah.
get
So
to the
we'll talk more
good.
about Inspector Gadget later, I'm sure. But
Yes.
suffice it to say, that was a good summary of the
Yeah.
Funky Phantom. I have no
No,
additions to
no
what
further
you
comment.
said. No comment. Yes.
No questions,
I
please.
rest my case. Yes.
So next we have the Scooby-Doo show, which was a 70s iteration of Scooby-Doo, versus
hmm
Hey Arnold.
hmm This one ended up, I will say, being the hardest one for me. I thought
Oh,
that
this one was hard.
Tailspin and Rescue Rangers was going to be the harder one. Powerpuff Girls and Totally Spies ended up being harder than that.
Mm,
This one ended up being harder, the harder than even those ones. Like I had to
mm.
go through the entire bracket and then come back to that one
Oh,
because I
yeah.
couldn't choose.
I did have to
Um,
re-listen to both of them multiple times.
Yeah, same. I have a very special place in my heart for the Scooby-Doo show too. Again, we're not
I know
factoring
we're
that
separated
into
because you
this.
also have a special place in your heart for Hey Arnold.
I do. There, it's both. This was a tough one for me.
Yeah.
And I think part of the reason why I like the Scooby-Doo show so much as a show is because of the theme song being different
Yes.
from Where Are You? And I think it's a good song. And the
Yeah.
lyrics change up. That it actually tells a
Yes.
story in the lyrics. It's groovy, it's funky, it makes you want to
Yes.
do a little jive or a little twist or something while the gang
Uh-huh.
is solving their mystery. But when it comes to iconicness and when it comes to
Mm,
changing the game for cartoons, I think the Hey
yes.
Arnold theme song did something very special to our little
Mm.
millennial brains when we were growing up. Because
Yes.
much
Interesting.
like Darkwing Duck, the writers of the show knew what kids were listening to. They knew what
Hmm.
was cool, what was in, and they knew how to set the tone for the show. And it matches
Yes.
the tone of the show perfectly, given the setting, given the diversity of the characters,
Yep.
the diversity of the stories. They were like, let's make a funk jazz bop that
Yes.
has like not that many lyrics, but when it does have lyrics, it fits in with the beat. It's not just like someone
Yeah.
singing a song, it's
Or
someone
like
using their
monologuing
voice
over.
as another. Exactly. They're not
Yeah.
monologuing, they're not singing lyrics, they're just like kind of ad-libbing lyrics to like
Mm.
add to the beat itself and to the jazzy vibe.
Yeah.
Um, so I think as a song, it's one of the better cartoon theme songs that
Interesting.
I've ever heard. But that's where
Wow.
I'll leave it before I say who I put down as the
All right.
winner.
Well,
What do you
here's the
say?
thing. I listened to these on repeat.
Hmm
And I ended up when I filled out my bracket for now, I was like, I'm leaving this blank for right now because I
Yes, isn't it hard?
literally, yeah, this one was really hard. So I like kind of landed on one, but I left it blank because I was like, I can be swayed. So for me, like, yeah, I really love the Scooby intro. It again fits to like the 70s cartoon. It's peppy, it's a jingle.
Hmm
Shaggy sings in it for a second.
Yeah.
Like the feeling that it gave me is that like it made me want to be in like a even though this is a 70s cartoon, like a 60s matching outfit, kind of like with
Yeah.
like that like
Like a
really
floral
bold floral
print.
print, yes,
Yeah.
and like me and my whole band are in the same matching outfits and like we're singing on like a live TV set like on like
Yes.
the
Doing
sunny
your
like on like the Cher show and stuff
Yes.
in like the 60s and
Yeah.
70s and like dancing in unison is how this song made me feel.
Very
But
much.
like I know I said I also prefer songs with like lyrics, like maybe like I hinted at a little bit. Like that's why, they get stuck in
Hmm
your head more. But like the Hey Arnold song made me feel cool when I was listening to it. Like you said, like something got
mm
rewired in my brain while listening to it. And like you said, that's I really like that point of like I liked the simplicity of just Helga speaking, but also like
hmm
I don't know, like I know we're separating from the show, but like also like the message and meaning of Helga being the only one calling out for Arnold the whole time.
Ah,
Like I also
yes.
loved. And like at the
That's
end, like
good. I
more
didn't think
of
of
the
that.
town starts also shouting for him and stuff. But like I
Yeah.
really like you that you pointed out that it wasn't her just saying Arnold. It was like with the beat, like
hmm
it fit the song. It wasn't just, yeah, like Arnold, Arnold, like
Yeah. Arnold.
Arnold.
Yeah.
Hey
Hey,
Arnold. Like, yeah.
Arnold.
Like,
Yeah.
and
Perfect.
the
And the
fact that,
buildup of it to where she like
yes,
yells it at the end, you know? Yeah.
exactly. And like ending it too with her iconic line, like her tagline, essentially, move it,
Hmm.
football head. Like,
Hmm.
I don't know. I think for me, I'm gonna say Hey Arnold.
I also put Hey
Okay.
Arnold. I
Okay.
did. And I was
Yeah.
surprised when I first made this. I was like, Scooby-Doo show is winning this. And then I listened to them and
Yeah.
I was like, what am I saying? Hey Arnold wins this. Also,
Yes.
I listened to it with like my big studio headphones
Oh,
in,
yeah. And like the
and I
actual
had heard,
music.
yes, like I heard a bass line going through it that I'd never heard
Oh,
before just watching it on TV. And I was
oh.
like, okay, this is even better than I thought it was. There's even more
Yes.
soul in this than
Yeah.
I thought. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
And I
once I heard
think,
that bass line, sorry, Scooby-Doo show, it was over.
yes,
It
it
was
was all
over.
over it.
I'm
Yeah. And
like,
I feel like with this one too, I mean, like you said, like musically, the actual music was like something a show had never, or like a cartoon show, it feels like had never done before. It feels like
yeah,
this could have been no other show on TV, not just cartoon show, but like no other show on TV could have done this. It like
yeah.
is almost like today, like SVU would use this kind of thing. Like
That's hilarious. I was
like a
thinking like
full on like
Seinfeld maybe, but
crime
like
show
okay,
would
I guess
use
Seinfeld's not out
this.
anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like
I mean,
it's like
yeah,
a
something like
mature
that.
song
It is
for a
mature.
cartoon.
Yes, because it's straight up like jazz. Like it's
Yes.
like upbeat jazz kind of.
Yeah,
But
kind of
yeah,
like
it
a th
definitely it
funk
feels like
jazz.
yeah, it feels very big city, like very New York, or
Yes,
like very like
exactly. You're
San
walking through the
Francisco,
big
something
city,
exactly. Like
like the
things are
alleyways and the
tough in the city.
streets.
Yeah, you got
Yeah,
to learn your lessons. You got to be street smart, and then you
exactly.
got
You're
to
gonna learn
like
life
gather up
lessons
with your
out here.
posse, and then like yeah,
Yep.
and also okay, we might be biased because you know the end does the whole like West Side Story thing where it's like the
Yes,
kids
boys versus
all.
girls.
Yes, exactly. So I
Yeah,
think we
it's
are super
true.
biased in a
That
way,
just
subliminally.
implanted in our heads.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're
But
right.
that's what makes it even better. So, hey,
Exactly.
that's why it's our
Yes.
winner. Cool.
Yes. All right. I can't wait to hear your take on our next one, which is the Amazing Chan and the Chan Clan versus the Wild Thornberries.
Yeah, I mean, this one was pretty easy for me. Not the
Okay.
easiest, but pretty easy.
Okay.
I guess I'll start with the wild thornberries. It's kind of
Okay.
similar to Courage, where like you're just getting a monologue basically of
Yeah.
the background story to how we got to the show The Wild Thornberries. But the music is very cool. Like
Yeah.
I don't think I would put it in any sort of specific genre. It's like a lot of very like eclectic sort of instruments. Like you hear a
Yeah.
lot of like wind, like woodwinds and like interesting drums, like
Yeah.
congas maybe. And yeah, so you can tell it fits the show very well because it's a
Yeah.
show about a family traveling all over the world and they're taking in all these new cultures and adventures. And that's literally what the theme song is.
Hmm.
But it's not really something that gets stuck in your head because there isn't really like a jingle or like actual
Yeah.
lyrics. It's just a monologue from Eliza.
Yeah.
But the music actually is beautiful. Like it almost sounds like
Yes.
it should be background music in like The Lion King or like some
Yes.
Discovery Channel like
Yeah.
documentary or something about nature, the environment. Like it's very
Yeah.
beautiful. It's got this amazing like almost opera or like symphony singing or opera singing
Yeah.
behind in the background. And it's very uplifting, but
Yeah.
not something that gets stuck in your head like the whisper scatting of the amazing Chan. So, as much as I appreciate the
The
Wild
amazing
Thornberries themes,
Chan.
and the thing about the amazing chant, so I appreciate the whisper scatting, but
Yes.
I can't get through that theme song without laughing. Like I'm always just cracking up because it amazes me that that the singer is able to pull that off. Like I always try to, but like, how do you edit that? It just is so, I don't know. Like, if nothing else, if it's not only do I think it's a better song than the Wild Thornberries, I had
Hmm.
this one winning, but like you got to give it to the producers. how do you edit
It's a
that sort
hard to
of those
produce song.
vocals? Yeah. How do you, and to that singer, how do you whisper scat? It's, it's hard. It's hard to do it without just
It
sounding like
hurts.
you're clearing your throat.
Yes.
Yeah.
He has
So,
enunciation.
yes, yes.
Okay,
What do you
well,
think?
let me tell you, I feel relieved because I thought I was going to have to defend the Amazing Chan for you and really try to
No.
convince you of it. Because here's the thing, we're the same person all the time.
Yes.
For me, I literally, my note was the Wild Thornberries song, like, feels like it potentially wasn't even recorded for this show, but instead, like, they bought
Mm,
it from, like, yeah, Discovery, Animal Planet, like an HBO nature show. Like, it's
yeah.
really beautiful, but
Hmm.
it, like, could have been on any of those shows. Just take away Eliza's monologue. Like, it wasn't explicitly
Yeah.
recorded for this show. Um, so yeah, it's beautiful, but like, again, like I could also hear it on another show and not know that this was the same
That's a
one
good
without
point.
Eliza's monologue.
Yeah.
Here's my note on Amazing Chan. Simple yet innovative, brave, makes no sense, lives in my head rent free. Needless to
Brave.
say, groundbreaking.
Innovative. Innovative is, yeah. No notes. No
Yes,
notes.
this for me, I was like, well, Amazing Chan, obviously,
Yeah,
next.
obviously.
But I
You
was
just took all my
worried.
rambling and put it into like succinct words. I appreciate that
I
and
was
agree with
worried
all of
though
it.
that you were not going to be on that same page. So
Yeah, and
you,
there was a point where I was worried you would say wild thornberries because I just know how much you love wild thornberries and
yes,
like the nature aspect, how you
yes.
are
Again, the
Eliza
show
Thornberry, basically.
itself,
Yeah.
obviously Thornberries, but
Yeah. And I
theme
was like,
song
oh, but you know what
put up
my
against the bravest one on this entire
the
conference.
bravest, I love that brave. Um, so you had your argument ready for like if I had said wild thornberries, the argument I was going to use if you
Let's
had
hear
said wild thornberries
it.
was Grace, whisper, scatting. That's all I was gonna say.
Just
I
over
was
and
like,
over
Grace,
again.
yeah, whisper, scatting, Grace, that
That's a
wins.
Chan plan.
It's a Jan plan. The amazing Jan.
Like, just, and two, and thinking about it, like, this song was this Chan was in the 80s, right? It was the 70s, in the 80s.
I think it was. I'll look it up while you say what you're saying because I think
Well,
it was the
it's
80s.
very important when it was, um, oh, 70s, 72.
It was okay.
Because,
Okay.
like, it's important because think of these musicians, what type of drugs they were on at this time.
The facts.
Early
Yeah.
70s, like,
Yeah.
they're out there whisper scatting, like, they're
They're
just
feeling the
flowing,
vibes.
they're with the
Yeah.
vibes, and they're
In
like,
the studio.
this works. This works. Like, just they're getting new like recording and like production innovations at this time. Like,
Yeah.
again, bold, brave, brazen,
Innovative.
in fact,
Brazen, if you will. Brazen,
infamous,
even.
if you will,
Yes. Yeah.
at a
And
time when like Led Zeppelin was like, 3 years
so
in at
true.
this point, like
They said,
innovating what eventually would become heavy metal. They said, you know what's going to stand out?
no.
Something quiet,
Whisper scatting.
something subtle,
Whisper scatting.
whisper scatting.
That's a chant play.
So yeah, okay, great. I'm glad we still gave our
Yeah,
defenses despite us
we
agreeing
did.
with each
Yes,
other.
indeed.
Amazing.
Uh,
All right.
excellent. And
So
we got another
next,
easy round.
yeah. So next we have the original Scooby-Doo, Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? Against
Hmm.
Jabberjaw,
Yeah.
a show we love to hate, or we
We
hate to
love to
love.
hate it. Hate to love. So true. I think it's unique in that sense where it's probably maybe that and the Funky Phantom are the only two where we were like
What have we
openly
done?
saying what Exactly. What have these writers done? Yeah. And I will say it took almost everything in me. So the hardest part of this whole bracket, it wasn't these couple of close ones that we've talked about. It
Uh-huh.
was actually deciding what would be the eighth seed in this conference, the Funky Phantom or
Mm.
Jabberjaw. I was like,
You
God,
picked the
which of these
right.
two songs is worse? Yeah, which
Yeah.
in a way, I could see someone arguing that the Funky Phantom is better than Jabberjaw, but or sorry, yeah. The
Yeah.
Funky Phantom is better than Jabberjaw, but Jabberjaw is just not a good theme song in my opinion. Like, I
Yeah.
think the best part, there's a band that does pretty good. Like the music
Yeah.
itself is okay, but the lyrics are
Jabber, jabber,
nails on a
jabber, jabber, jabber,
chalkboard.
jabber, jabber, jabber,
If you
jabber.
will, yes. And it's because it's like Bubbles singing it too. I think the character who
Yeah.
plays Bubbles, and we know just how annoying of a character Bubbles is.
Yes.
So it's that like weird yabba 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 yabba
Well,
kind of
and that the
singing.
rest of the verses are by, here's the thing, I forgot that there was any other part, like lyrics in the song beyond what I just sang. Like the rest
Yeah.
of the theme song is Jabberjaw singing it,
Yeah.
which at least because Funky Phantom was that the eighth seat for this then?
Yeah. Yeah. Funky
Yeah,
Phantom was
which
eight.
like
This is
at
seven.
least Jabberjaw had something that gets stuck in your head. Like Funky
Yeah.
Phantom, like I can't name a single lyric besides like Muddsy saying it's the Funky Phantom and
Funky
like that's it.
Phantom.
Jabberjaw,
Yeah.
at least that annoying part, it's like an annoying commercial. Like it's stuck in your
Yes.
head. That
I think
jingle's
that's
in
why I put
there.
it over. Yeah. I was like, well, it gets
Yeah.
stuck in your head more. There is like an actual, there's a band and like an actual, there's
Yeah.
music for real back there that's
Yes.
good, Like I'm not gonna say that the guitarist is bad or
Yeah,
whatever.
exactly.
Yeah, like it's a
They made
song,
music. Yeah.
but it just is one of those ones where like if you played this show to your kids, you would skip the intro because you don't want your kids saying this over and
Oh
over
my
again and getting it stuck in
God.
their
If
heads.
your
They were literally
kid,
just be jabber jabber. Like if you think the Baby Shark
I
songs,
was thinking
this
that too
might be
during
the
this.
most
I was like,
annoying
what is
shark
it about
song.
shark songs? I
Yeah.
love sharks. Why would they do this to sharks?
Their
Come
songs
on.
are terrible. I'm
Yeah,
sorry, sharks.
get it to
Love you, but your
get a
songs stink.
better PR firm to help you out.
Yes. They need to hire like Pharrell or something to like write their
Yes.
music for
Just
them.
one good hit for a shark. Well, I
Please.
guess
So, yeah.
Shark Tale. What is it?
Oh,
What's
Shark. That's a movie.
yeah.
Oh, well, yeah,
Will
but
Smith
that was
does
with
it or
Will
something.
Smith.
Oh
So,
no,
like,
I
yeah,
think
that's
they do
probably
like
got
car wash. Whatever. Yeah. Anyways.
you're right, yeah.
Yeah.
But okay, that's
But
better. That
that's
that's true. And okay, well, they had Will Smith. That's why it worked because that
yeah.
guy knows
And it's
music.
different
Unlike,
and whatever.
yeah,
Anyways,
exactly.
that might not even be the name
So,
of the movie. I can't remember. But let me tell you, if I hear a bunch of bats followed by three notes,
oh
I
fuck yeah.
immediately know that this is Scooby-Doo area. Like
Yes.
in a heartbeat, I know exactly what this is. It's
Mm-hmm.
what I mean, it's the original Scooby-Doo song. Like
Yeah.
I have
It's
no
iconic.
no yeah, I have no notes for it. Like it feels like maybe I mean in the same sense that Scooby-Doo the show itself was iconic at the time and like actually innovative at the time, not just me jokingly
Yeah.
saying that. Like that show was innovative. I feel like as was this theme song at the time.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And yeah, just as a song, like it's actually a catchy song too. Like
Yeah.
the lyrics are very it's like on a fine line between jingle and actual song, you
Yes.
know? Because the
Yeah.
Scooby Dooby Doo part obviously gets caught in your head like a jingle, but then you
Yep.
keep listening and there's legit lyrics and everything,
Yes.
Like,
And like
we gotta
this
solve
is a
a
song
mystery.
that like I not only regularly sing, but like within our household we like to rewrite lyrics to songs and sing them to each other about
To
each
your
other.
dogs.
Like
Yes. Oh, or
literally
that, yeah.
and my dogs obviously. And
Yes.
like literally while we were walking last night to get wings, I was rewriting the lyrics to this song about Justin
Yeah.
as we walked through the street. And like
Exactly.
and I hadn't even gone and listened to all of the songs again yet. Like I hadn't started my bracket
Mm,
work yet. Like it's just that
yeah.
um prevalent and like relevant in my life forever. So yeah, this one for me
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
easy.
This was the winner.
Okay. Whew. Now
Nice. Whittling down the quarterfinals.
here's what
This
starts
is
to get
where it gets
challenging.
exactly where it gets
Okay.
tough.
So we've
So we're
got
back up.
Yes. Our first one, Darkwing Duck versus Totally Spies.
Hmm. Yeah.
I don't know. For
I
me, it doesn't get
mean,
hard yet. I still know who moves
I
through in
know.
this one.
I was gonna say, so not hard yet, but
Yet. But
it
coming
will
up,
get hard.
it's gonna get
Yes, coming
harder.
up. Yeah, I mean, this one goes to
Darkwing Duck for
Darkwing
me.
Duck.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for
it's,
sure.
Totally Spies, good job making it through a couple of rounds,
Yep.
but ultimately,
It doesn't have the
again,
same
go listen
prowess.
to it for yourselves. Now, I will
Yeah,
say both of these are songs that like on their own could just be so
great
like
songs.
radio hits, or like
Yeah,
songs on the radio, even though one of them says like Darkwing Duck, but
yeah,
it's the music itself is good enough to hold its own, but
yes.
for both of these songs, I mean, but yeah, I mean, go listen to it for yourselves,
It's
y'all.
gotta be
You know,
this one.
Darkwing Duck wins this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, this next one, challenging, but for me also, I'm like, I know which one goes through here. We've got
Mm.
Chippendale Rescue Rangers versus What's New Scooby-Doo.
Yeah. And based on where you were for Chippendale's first round, we might have a disagreement on this one, actually. Yeah. And it surprised me. I was very surprised when I said this, but I put Rescue Rangers over What's New Scooby-Doo. I
Whoa.
almost couldn't believe it. But because when I compared the two of them and I wanted to listen to Rescue Rangers again. Now, my mind could definitely, this is probably the
Mm.
one where I could change my mind the easiest. So if you have a
Okay.
compelling point, I will probably blindly follow it. But
Good.
for this case, I was like, ooh, Rescue Rangers, again, it's just so over the top of a song that it's like when you
Yes.
listen to it, you have to kind of stop what you're doing and just like take it in. Whereas What's New Scooby-Doo, you like it, it's a bop, love that
Mm.
song, but it doesn't make me like stop what I'm doing and actually listen. It makes me just kind of like bop around to whatever I'm doing. Where
Mm.
like when I heard that Rescue Ranger song, I had to stop and like
You
put
were
my attention
taken
in that and be
aback.
like, my goodness gracious,
Oh, my
that
goodness, the
that
artistry.
symphony. Yes, exactly.
See,
But
yes, you are
again, I
correct.
can
I
be
put What's New
swayed.
Scooby-Doo moving forward here.
Hmm.
But I do make almost the exact same argument that you just made of think of every Scooby-Doo song prior to this. It was more of a like jingle. It was more like this is a family
Yeah,
show. So like for the
yeah,
Scooby-Doo canon, all of a sudden having like a rock song
yeah,
be its intro. Plus, think of if we look through our shows, even on here from the 90s, like Hey Arnold, like it's still got like the 90s songs, Darkwing Duck, it's got funk, it's got jazz, like they were with the time. And then all of a sudden, 2002 rolls around and Scooby Doo says, we're not doing that anymore. We're
mm,
going some rock music now, all of the sudden, and like totally changing the game for me for theme songs by keeping up with the
yeah,
times, doing something again that hadn't been done before, at least within like this genre of TV show. I
yeah,
understand that Chippendale, yes, like the cinematicness of it and that it is underrated, but I don't know, for me, I just the What's New Scooby-Doo. Simple Plan wrote an original song for it. Like,
yeah,
I don't know, for me, this one still stands. I think including that, like, yeah, with Chippendale, I'm like, yeah, I'll go listen to it again. But like, if What's New Scooby-Doo came on a playlist multiple times, I wouldn't skip it. But like for me, if Rescue Rangers was on a
mm.
playlist after twice, I would be like, okay,
You'd be like, I've had enough.
yeah, I got
Yeah,
the vibe.
yeah. I will
We can come
say
back to this one if you want.
no, no, no. I think you've swayed me mostly in your argument of like the bigger picture, which is
Yeah,
a
like what
factor
this
in all of
meant
this.
for
Yeah,
like
for the
TV
time
theme
that it came
songs.
out
Yeah.
and for things that came after it as well. Like
Yeah.
it changed the game entirely for Scooby-Doo music,
Hmm.
and um they knew what the kids were listening to. Like they knew how
Yeah.
to get the attention of kids and like hold it, like we said with Hey Arnold and with Darkwing Duck.
Yep.
And again, I know we're trying to separate out like the specific show or like the
Yes.
characters and
That's
stuff, but
hard.
part of the reason why I remember we talked about this a little bit, part of the reason why they wanted to go with like Simple Plan or do like a rock intro was because of the popularity of like the Hex Girls and
Yep.
everything in the movie, in the Zombie Island or Witch's Ghost
Which is Ghost,
movie,
which was
and
just
yeah,
before
all of that.
this. Yeah.
Yes. So they were like, well, they like The Rock then. So also when you
Yep.
think about that being like the natural progression
This
of
like
it all.
huge thought out like
Yeah.
process and cost to get Simple Plan in the door
Yes, also true. And the
to
fact
make
that
this.
Simple Plan, like you said, still rocks with
Right.
that
And the
song
fact that they
today
said
is
yes to begin with to
to even be
this.
in it. And they were like in some of the episodes too. So they are
Yeah.
also canon in Scooby-Doo now.
Yes.
Yeah, you've changed my opinion.
Yeah.
Like I said, this was the
The
one that was
greater
easiest for me to
picture.
change the opinion. Yeah, look at the bigger picture. Chippendale
Yes.
is great, but it wasn't doing much different from the other like
Yes.
80s shows and stuff.
Yeah, but I
Fair.
would be down for a post vote on MVP for Chip and Dale. You
Mm.
know, like they
They
didn't make it
maybe
all
have
the
some
way,
MVP
but
votes.
like, you know,
Yeah.
they really made a mark during
They
this
have heart.
tournament.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
really exactly. They did
exactly.
make a mark. It's sad to
Yeah,
see them go, but they put up a good fight. This was a close
exactly.
one. It was a close one. Scooby-Doo
Yeah.
probably only wins by a couple points. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Exactly.
Cool.
So
All
then we
right.
bop over here. We've got Inspector Gadget versus Hey Arnold.
Hmm. And this one was kind of tough too. I had to listen a
Yeah,
couple of times, but ultimately for me, I still come out with Inspector Gadget on
yeah.
top.
I agree.
Hmm.
I think it's just a
Because
little more complex than Hey Arnold.
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly. And that's saying something because Hey Arnold's got like 30 instruments going on in there, but
exactly.
Inspector Gadget has 31.
Exactly.
So,
Plus the
and
singer who
again,
wasn't just one of the voice actors.
exactly. It wasn't one of the
Multiple
voice
singers, in
actors.
fact.
Catchier. There's a jingly aspect to it that gets caught in your head more
Yep.
than the Hey Arnold one. And again, I just gotta say that freaking drummer, man. Relentless do.
Just
Those
with the
hi-hats,
fucking
every time I
town.
listen to it, I just get chills from the
Yes.
hi-hat little breaks and
Right.
everything.
And I
So
gotta
yeah.
say too, I feel like you saying that also has extra weight as a drummer yourself. Like, I don't know if people
Well,
know that about you. That's probably also important
yes.
to say of like it's not just
Yes.
like, I don't know, me being like, yeah, the drums in it are really good. Like, I feel like it holds a little more weight with you saying that
Yes.
being an actual
Someone was
drummer.
actually a drummer. Yes, in another life, not well, a few years ago,
Yeah.
a while
It's
ago,
solely just
I
because
did
you
play
don't
the
have it in your
drums.
apartment.
Yeah,
Like,
all right. You can't
because
see
you
it. My
live in an
guitars are right
apartment.
there. You can't see them, but yeah, no drums
Yes.
here. Exactly.
So
So
next,
fair.
yeah, so Inspector Gadget moves on. Next, we've
Hmm.
got the Amazing Chan and the Chan Clan versus the original Scooby-Doo. Where are you?
Yeah. Yeah.
For me,
I
this
mean, the
was kind of
whisper
easy.
scatting can only get you so far.
Right, we've got
Yeah.
innovation be innovation here, you know?
Exactly. It's tough. In a fight
One
of
was more
innovation,
innovative
who wins? The
and
ones who did
stood
it
the test
first,
of
I
time,
guess.
you know?
Yeah, exactly.
One
There's a
innovation was a
reason.
blip on the radar
There's a
versus
reason why we hum Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? And not you can't even
Amazing Chan.
hum the amazing Chan.
Exactly. You can only whisper scat it.
You can only whisper scat. I will
And
say
that's
the
it.
amazing Chan music is cool too, though. Like it definitely,
Yes.
I mean, I don't know, some people may think it's
It's
offensive the way that it kind of like takes musical inspiration from like maybe like ancient Chinese sort of
yeah.
instruments or
Yeah.
something, or like
And like kind of makes
sounds,
it like
which
jazzy almost. Yeah.
yeah, like a little funk jazz thing. So like it's cool. They got creative with it for
Yeah.
sure. But again, you're going up against a goat.
Yes.
We ain't gonna
Exactly.
do.
In
We
like the
ain't gonna.
grand test of time, you
Yes.
know,
Yeah.
it's hard. So
It's
now we get
Scooby-Doo.
into the
Wow.
business.
Get the semifinals now.
Yep.
The business. Yeah. And I'm glad it
So
ended up this way. I was kind of worried with putting three different Scooby-Doo shows on here. I was like, watch three of the four finalists be Scooby-Doo, and that's so unfair.
no, you did a
Two is
really good
better.
job in the
Great.
matchups, like the original seating
Wonderful.
here for sure.
Thank you. Thank
So
you.
let's start. We've got in our semifinals here Darkwing Duck versus What's New Scooby-Doo.
Hmm.
For me, even though I really just fought for What's New Scooby-Doo to move it on, Darkwing Duck.
I
We know
know.
this
Yeah.
about me. We know this is
We
a favorite. We know I fucking love this one.
exactly. Yeah. We know we're biased here
Yeah, okay, so
slightly.
we're on the same
Obviously,
page, Darkwing
it's
Duck.
fair. I mean, it's our bracket, okay, guys? We're
Yeah,
allowed to be slightly biased. And I mean,
yes.
okay, let me play devil's advocate here too,
Okay,
because yes, ultimately I have Darkwing Duck making it to the
yes.
final for this as well. But devil's advocate for What's New Scooby-Doo, even though I feel like we've already done that building
Yeah,
up to this, like, okay, sure we know Simple Plan is like an established band. We don't
yeah.
know specifically who did the Darkwing Duck song,
So
so it's like the
mysterious.
iconicness. I
Just
don't
like
know, but
Darkwing Duck.
just like DW himself. The singer is the terror that flaps in the night.
Uh-huh.
Um, but yeah, I think that, you know what, Simple Plan is great, but it's just a general pop rock song. You
Yeah.
know, it's cool that it's on this cartoon for this character that we've all known and loved
Yes.
for so many decades. But Darkwing Duck, I mean, I don't think I've ever heard New Jack Swing on any other cartoon
Same. I think I
before.
didn't even know the name of the genre until we looked it up.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, and that's it's pretty cool. Like, yeah,
yeah, I agree. I feel like What's
well,
New Scooby-Doo deserves its place here for like the Scooby-Doo canon, like totally rewriting it here into the vibe and being like, yeah, we know what the kids want. Let's rock their world
yeah.
with this. But just there's something about Darkwing Duck. I imagine
Hmm.
as they were doing this theme song, they're in a basement studio. Like, Rob Rick is there. They're still smoking cigarettes because it's the 90s and there's a
Yeah.
smoke-filled room. And they are working all night on this song. They
Hmm.
they found each other in a jazz club nearby, in a funk club nearby, and they were like, I got something for us.
Like,
You
oh,
know?
do you now?
They don't know, no one knows each other's names. They're all mysteries to each other, even in this recording studio.
They
Like
all did their part and then
I'm
left never
there.
to talk again.
Never, they just get sent the checks
Smart.
that the studio knows the addresses for, but
Yeah,
not even the names.
exactly.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, me, Darkwing Duck.
Yeah.
Okay, next,
Agreed.
we've got
All right.
Inspector Gadget versus the
Gadget,
original
Scooby-Doo.
Scooby-Doo, Where
Where
Are
are
You?
you?
I'm gonna say
Mm,
I really struggled here.
yeah.
I really struggled keeping nostalgia out of it.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm really open to
Are you?
argument.
Okay.
Yeah. For either way, I don't know if I have an answer
Yeah.
here, so I'm really open to hearing your arguments here.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, in a way, it was like, oh, I'm trying to keep nostalgia out of it, but it like comes down to that almost in some way,
Mm,
like just the overall vibes, right?
yeah.
Because when you're this far in
Yeah.
to like the bracket, it's like, well, they're both great, obviously.
Yeah.
So, I'm not going to compare like the music on the two or whatever.
Right.
I think
Because they're so
for
different.
me, yeah, they're so different, but they're both great in their own ways.
Yeah.
So for me, this one really did just come down to which one I wanted to listen to again, which one,
Mm.
when I heard it, kind of just made me like, you know,
Ah,
when you hear a really good song, yeah, you just kind of like close your eyes and just,
yes.
I think I said it about Rescue Rangers too. Like you just got to feel
I'm
it. Like you got to just stop
there.
for a sec. You're there, you're in it.
Yes.
And when it comes down to that for me, it was Inspector Gadget.
Oh, okay.
And I do think that, so even though vibes are like the general thing that I'm basing this off of, when you like
Yeah.
really get down to the nitty-gritty, it is actually the music itself. Like Scooby-Doo, Where
Mm.
Are You is fun. It's exciting. It's very
Yeah.
appropriate for like the late 60s, a very groovy tune, family
Yeah.
friendly. But Inspector Gadget just has so much going on with the instruments and the instrumentation,
Mm.
the song. It has like a clear intro that gets your attention with like the sirens and the little bass line,
Yes.
but then it goes up with the verse or whatever, the chorus kind of. It has like ebbs and flows. The
Mm.
song travels through all these different phases and it brings in this bridge with that amazing just go
Yes.
gadget
Get you
go, the little
go.
chorus in the background. So
Yeah.
I think that the fact that there are so many different elements in the
Yes.
Inspector
In one
Gadget
song.
music all built together exactly into one just very cohesive song compared to Scooby-Doo, which it's good because of how iconic it is and because of like how catchy the
Yes.
lyrics are. There isn't actually a lot going on with the band or
Yeah.
like
Like
with the music
musically.
itself. It's like pretty
Yeah.
steady, pretty straightforward the
Yeah.
entire song. So I think that just like the emotional journey of the Inspector Gadget for
Yes.
me was enough to be like, all right, I'm sorry, Scooby-Doo. Like
Yeah.
I gotta think with my head, not my heart here.
See, I think that's why
And
I
just
struggled because I think I was like,
yeah,
I know Inspector Gadget is the better song, but even though I said it 1,000 times to you, feelings are going to get hurt. I think I was like, I don't want to hurt
exactly.
Scooby-Doo.
I know,
I don't
especially
want
after they get
Scooby-Doo.
this far. Yeah.
Yeah, but
But
yeah. I think you're right. And I think that's why I struggled because I was like, I can't be the one to rip this. I got to rip this Band-Aid off. This,
Yeah.
my emotional support Scooby-Doo. It, my head knows it's Inspector Gadget, but my heart
Yeah.
and my nostalgia was Scooby-Doo. But I think you're right. Inspector Gadget does like, yeah, when you close your eyes, Scooby-Doo takes me to like, aw,
Aw, Scooby. Yeah.
aw, Scooby kind of thing. But Inspector Gadget takes me on a journey. So yes, I
Hmm.
think you're right. And I think as we probably had predicted, our final two here.
I didn't design this so that this would be the end result. Dot,
Yeah, what if
dot,
you had
dot.
put this first seed versus first seed? Look at
I
the
knew
first
what I
conference
was
here.
doing.
Oh,
I was like,
you.
I was like, maybe it'll end up a different way, but the way that I'm planning this should put, I
Right.
knew that one of these four songs would probably
Yeah.
be in the final four or in the final
Yep.
two. Um, I feel like there was one last thing I was going to say about Inspector Gadget before we moved on. Oh,
Well,
like
it's still
thinking of
relevant
what,
because
yeah, true,
we're
that's
about to
true.
talk
And
about it right
actually,
now.
you're right. So this can actually just continue on. Not only do I think this is why it beats Scooby-Doo out, but compare this now to Darkwing Duck,
Yes.
with what you said for what did you say that one for? Darkwing Duck versus What's New Scooby-Doo about like you imagine them in a room recording
Yes.
back then. So like thinking that about Inspector Gadget, I just imagine someone kind of messing around on a synthesizer, like
Uh-huh.
do 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 do, and then like everyone else just kind of looking at him and being like
You
do
hear a pin
do, or
drop.
just like everyone like adds in their little thing on their instrument. So it's almost just like a call and response thing where they're just all messing
Ah.
around, a group of people on like synthesizers and guitars and drums
Mm.
and stuff, just like free forming this idea, just joking around in the studio. Like,
Yeah.
what else can we add in here just to make this
Okay, let's find out.
crazy? Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So when I like try to put myself in the place of the band or of the artist, I'm
Mm.
like, how fun would that have been to just come up with that song and to record? Just
Yeah.
imagine like pressing all the buttons on the synthesizers and putting all the
Yeah.
extra background noise in it, because they have
Yeah.
all the like noises of gadget shenanigans and everything,
Yes.
kind of. And yeah, so I think it probably took a little bit more creativity to create than Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? And
Yes.
maybe even Darkwing Duck.
Yeah, I was gonna
But
say now I think this is where we get into our hardest, obviously, discussion, as it
mhm.
was meant to be, always, as it was always meant
Yes,
to be.
this was where this all began.
And I think, right, exactly, yeah, during our Inspector Gadget arc here when we
Yeah.
came on. And here's the thing. I have a feeling we're gonna end up on different pages here. I have a feeling we're each gonna have our separate brackets.
Hmm.
And I have a feeling that, or I'm very interested in hearing what our viewers think here. And who,
Yeah.
if they dwindled it down to these two as well, Darkwing Duck versus Inspector Gadget. I'm
Hmm.
very interested to hear who, like what their thoughts are, because I think for me
Yeah.
with this one, I feel like I have two thoughts, including a wild speculation that I just came up with as you were talking about that last piece of Inspector
Oh
Gadget,
no.
which
Yeah.
is Inspector Gadget, yes, was made like that. Similarly, they didn't know each other's names. They were just thrown into a room together. And then 10
Yeah.
years later, one of them said, we got to do one last song. He had to go on an entire mission across the country, nay, the world, to find these mysterious artists who were on Inspector Gadget. And it had been a decade, so all of their musical styles had evolved with the
Hmm. The
decade, which is
times.
why,
Yeah.
yeah, the songs are kind of different genres here, but have the same
Hmm.
intensity. And then they got back into a room together, sunglasses on, so you can't, again, know each other's names ever, and did Darkwing
Hmm.
Duck. So I feel like
Yeah.
Inspector Gadget was the first one that said, you guys have just been doing jingles for 20 years. Let me write a song for
Song.
this. And I
Lyrics.
feel
Have you ever
like,
heard of them?
yeah, look it up. It's our picture next to it. And I feel like Darkwing Duck did a similar thing of saying, yes, we can actually create an entire song here in a different way
Hmm.
than, yes, some of the other ones had prior to it. But I think for me, I really had trouble keeping both nostalgia out of it and vibes in the sense of being like, one is a detective show, one is a superhero show. And so, like, what
Mm-hmm.
gets me more hyped when I listen to it will always be a superhero versus a detective, because that's the whole point,
Hmm.
is that
Yeah,
superheroes
true.
are very action forward and
Hope and yeah.
detectives are like more mystery about it, versus superheroes are
Yeah.
more straightforward. Like, we are beating someone up, we are after a villain here, and it's going to be action forward. And detectives are going to be like, we're solving clues, which is funny because, like, I think, um, like plot wise, like if I'm watching a movie, I want a detective show versus superhero show. I think we're probably the opposite because you love all like the
Yes.
entire Marvel Cinematic Universe type of thing, which is
Yeah.
funny. But yeah, I feel like for a theme song for me, yeah, it came down to vibes and nostalgia, because I think both are, as musical pieces, both incredible. I think both very complicated. Yes, I think Inspector Gadget has a little more like layers to it maybe happening, but I think on like what gets me hyped up is Darkwing Duck, to like go fight crime, to go be a mysterious badass superhero.
Hmm.
That's where it gets me. Like, I'm ready to hit the streets vigilante justice style
Kick some
with
ass.
Darkwing Duck, and with Inspector
Yeah.
Gadget. I'm just like, ooh, yes, I'm here. Okay. And I'll listen to it again, but I'm not left afterwards with like a hype for myself. So that's my
Hmm.
speech, and I accept that we might be on different pages for it. I'm speaking to the people
Yeah.
here. This is my
Yeah,
stump
exactly.
speech.
This is your case to the people.
Yeah.
Donate at
Darkwing Duck.
www.actgrace.com.
And okay, let's keep in mind here too, everyone, as Alexis gets her speech together, that I think I'm the underdog here, as I'm not a lawyer. I don't argue in my day-to-day life. So let's just keep in
That's
mind
fair.
the,
That's You're doing a great job. You should have been
my
a
my
lawyer.
stump
You
speech.
convinced me to change my mind on a couple things already, or at least one
My stump
thing.
speech
Yeah.
is literally just a little soapbox. That's all I got. I don't have a fancy degree that I'm standing on. I don't have law textbooks that I'm standing on for this. I'm just on a street corner talking to the people. I'm not in a courthouse, perhaps a government
Arguing
building,
laws. Yeah,
arguing actual laws every single day. So keep that in mind, everyone, as you make your
I've never even
bias.
heard of a legal case before.
Legal?
What?
I don't know what that is.
Legal? Cas? Huh?
I don't know what any of those are. So
Yeah.
anyways, viewers and
My
listeners, hearts and minds, let's
my
keep in
days
mind
in
the
law school
underdog
surely
story.
prepared me for this moment. Arguing between the Darkwing Duck theme song and the Inspector Gadget theme song.
All of that debt
Yes.
and loans
Oh,
really worth
yeah,
it.
it's paying off. Yeah. It's paying off. Well, I don't know. I mean, you make a very, very good argument. And you're right. We probably do disagree on this.
Yeah, and that's
And
okay.
and that's okay. One of us is going to change our minds. It might be
Are
me.
we?
Who knows? I
We
don't
can
know.
have
Or
different
not.
opinions.
Or
We can
that's
have two
true. We
separate
can
brackets.
have two separate winners and
Yeah,
then we can
we
let the audience
there's
break the
no
tie.
rules.
Yeah, that is also very, very true.
Watch them pick Jabberjaw.
Um,
The audience
I'm
has fucked
I'm
you both.
reviving Chippendale's Rescue Rangers. Actually, they win.
You know
No,
what?
I don't
I
know.
wouldn't be mad. I'd be mad if they made Jabberjaw win. I wouldn't be mad if they
Yeah,
win.
no, that I think that we know is
Let's be
Jabberjaw can't even find his way to the stadium or to the podium,
All right.
whatever, to get his medal.
Yep.
Yeah, this is tough. And I mean, I wouldn't say that I have like a whole speech prepared on this because again, for me, it was just like how I felt after listening to
Right.
them and breaking down the music of all of them and everything. And
Hmm.
as much as I love New Jack Swing as a genre and the music of Darkwing Duck, I just can't get over how creative like the
Mm.
instrumentation of Inspector Gadget is and how catchy the lyrics are. I think the lyrics for Darkwing Duck are catchy, especially the "Let's
Yeah.
Get Dangerous," and like it's fun to sing along to. But when it comes to like replay factor, you just keep like
Mm.
Inspector Gadget gets stuck in your head in a way that almost no other cartoon
Mm.
song can, because it's just so iconic, like the do to
Yeah.
do to do, you just
Mr.
you keep.
Gadget.
And it's because it's good too. It's not like Jabberjaw where if that gets stuck in your head, you're
You're mad.
screwed. Like, yeah,
You're
you're
screwed.
mad.
Your day
Like
is
people are
ruined.
gonna hate you. Yeah, if you're like whispering, your day is ruined. But if you're like whistling along Inspector Gadget out in the public, like people might
Right.
smile at you and wave or something like,
Yeah.
"Oh, hey, I know that song." So, and it's tough. Like for me, I put Inspector Gadget winning, but the only reason I could is because I
Mm.
felt bad. Like for some reason, I was like, no, Darkwing Duck wins. And I was like, no, I don't know. I
You gotta
can't
stay true to
explain it.
yourself.
I know. Yeah. For some reason, I can't explain why. But I couldn't let Darkwing Duck win for some reason. And it pains me to say it for some reason because I feel like it's so iconic. And as someone like the type of music that I like, it falls right
Right.
into that box of like what I grew up with, like 90s R&B, rap, New Jack Swing
Yeah.
type stuff. And it's that. But I can't not let Inspector Gadget win just because of
Mm.
how catchy it is and how
Yeah.
for me, I guess it wasn't so much about warming me up for the show as just like as a song, like
Right.
which
Just like
one
sticks
when
with
you
you
hear it on the
more.
radio, which one are you gonna like crank up?
Ah.
Like
Yeah.
I'll vibe out to Darkwing Duck. I might turn it up a little bit, but Inspector Gadget, I'm cranking that shit. I don't care. So
Ah.
Soldier Boy crank that shit. Inspector Gadget. But again, it ebbs and flows. Like the only reason I'm saying that is the only reason Darkwing Duck isn't winning is because it's going against Inspector Gadget. I
Ah,
feel like
yes.
for me,
Yes.
and I know that's kind of how I alluded all of this in the beginning, like when we during our
Yeah,
Inspector
yeah,
Gadget
yeah.
arc, I was like, I think it's Inspector Gadget. I don't know. Maybe I'll change my mind. There's just something in me that
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
man, I'm glad we covered the show because now it gives me a reason to listen to this song a lot more.
Right, which I feel like, yeah, I
hmm
didn't know. I obviously knew like the little tune part of it, like the little chorus
Yeah.
prior to us rewatching it, but I didn't know the full ass song prior to
Yeah.
us rewatching it. And I feel like, yeah, I feel like this is also why we're both split is because of the feeling that it gives us,
hmm
type of thing of like, yeah, yeah, like we can both say that. Yeah, like Inspector Gadget is probably more like musically complex. Like
hmm
Darkwing Duck is probably like more like
Lyrically
on
more
point.
complex.
Yeah, like lyrically and like on point for like a specific genre and like time,
Yeah.
like really fitting. But yeah, like the feeling that it gives us is very different.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I think it's okay that we have our two separate
Different.
brackets here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
And I want to stress that it's very hard for me to like
Same. Yeah, I mean, what you
I
said of
think
like,
Inspector Gadget wins, but I still am not even super committed to that. Like I would
yes.
still be like you could probably make a case for me to change my mind
I don't want
like
you to change your
easily
feelings
or
though. And
it's
I'm
okay.
the
I
same
love them
way
both equally
of
almost. It's
like
just yeah.
Darkwing Duck for me only or Inspector Gadget for me only loses because it's against Darkwing Duck. Like like
Yeah.
what you said. Like if it was
Just
against
yeah.
anything else on here, easy. Like
Yeah.
duh, it's gonna be Inspector Gadget. But because it's
Yeah.
against Darkwing Duck for me. And again, I think I also have like a sense of nostalgia for it and that kind of stuff. But I think
Yeah.
it's okay that we have different in this divided world, Alexis. It's okay
Yeah.
for us to say it's okay to agree to disagree.
To disagree. Yeah. But the only thing is that if we can't agree, we need a tiebreaker for the overall winner. But
Yes.
perhaps that is where you, the listeners and viewers, come
Yes.
in. So I don't know if we want to say, I forget when actual March Madness ends. It actually ends in April. Doesn't
Oh
say. I
my
don't know.
God, what?
Y'all want I know it's so actually most of March Madness is in April, which is
Oh
always
my
kind of funny to me.
God.
I'm trying to look it up. But I was gonna say maybe if people let us know who they have as a winner, or at least
Yes.
between our two finalists, who they think is a winner by the end of March Madness, we'll factor that in, and that will
Yes.
determine who the official winner of this tournament is because
Yes.
Grace and I seem to be
We don't
deadlocked.
know.
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or make your case. Make your case as to why either Grace or I should change our minds
Yes.
on who
Or
are
why?
not who wins on any of these rounds, perhaps, but especially in
Yes.
our final round. Yeah.
And including change our minds if we're both wrong and we
Yeah.
didn't look into something or consider something about someone else.
Facts.
We'll look on most likely the YouTube and Instagram comments. And
Yeah.
we'll probably announce the winner on Instagram,
Yeah.
like who the crowdsourced winner, and we'll just look through comments and be
Yeah.
like, here's who was mentioned the most as the winner here.
Here it goes. Yeah,
Yeah, our very
exactly.
unofficial data gathering,
Right. Hey,
basically.
no one is paying us to do this.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
So, yes.
trying to see here. Yeah, it is at least the final four is April 5th and 7th, I think. So it's like mid-April when it ends. So yeah,
Well,
we'll
when it
see. By
wraps
the
up,
end of
we'll post on
then, yeah,
Instagram
that
about
way,
who the
yeah. You guys
crowdsourced.
have some time to think about it. Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah, you got
End of March, early April, we'll close it down. Something like that.
exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
And as my final thought for this, well,
Hmm.
first of all, again, thank you for making this, Alexis. I shit talked
Thank
you and
you
said
for
we wouldn't do this, and then
beautifying
you
it.
made it. And I'm really impressed and really grateful for you. And then my true final thought is you said, Soldier Boy, turn it up. And my single comment is, do you remember when that song got banned at our high school?
Did
Yes.
it? You like
Yes,
from the
we
cafeteria
yes, we
or
played in the
from dances?
cafeteria
Yeah.
and they had like made an announcement like that we weren't
Oh,
allowed to play that song
yeah.
anymore.
Yeah.
That lives in my
Well,
head forever.
yeah. I feel like they started banning a lot of stuff. Honestly, in
Leggings and Soldier
hindsight,
Boy are the
yeah,
things I
true.
remember that they
I
banned.
meant music-wise, but
I
yeah.
know both.
I actually did forget about that. And in hindsight, so for those who don't know, obviously Grace and I went to high school together, if you didn't
Yes.
know by now. But our high school it had its kind of cool moments where like seniors could control
Yeah.
a speaker set in the
Yes.
cafeteria and
Notably,
they
this
could
is
play
also
whatever
an
music they
all-girls
wanted.
Catholic high school.
An
That feels like
all-girls Catholic high
important
school. It
context
is important to
somehow.
note,
Yes.
yes, in the suburbs of Cincinnati,
Yeah.
Ohio. So, yeah, we went to the school where we could like play, seniors could play music in the cafeteria,
Mhm.
and like there were no reins on it. Like whatever the
Yeah.
seniors wanted to play, they could play. Every now and again, if there was something with like cuss words, like you might hear or see a teacher come in and like turn it down, but like
Yes.
they didn't vet the music we could play.
No.
So I guess someone made a mixed CD. This was in the days of mixed CDs,
If you
CD-ROMs,
recall,
everybody. Somebody made a mixed CD with Soldier Boy on it, and the
I was one step too
administration did
far.
not like Crank That.
One
They did
step
not
too
like telling
far.
hoes to,
Nope.
or they did not like saying Superman that hoe,
Nope. For some
probably.
reason.
Yeah.
Maybe they didn't
For
like
whatever reason at
Superman.
this all-girls
They were
Catholic
like, this is
school.
a Wonder Woman environment. It's an all
Yes.
girls school.
Well,
Wonder Woman that hoe. And that's my closing thought for all of you.
yeah, we're gonna end it there. I was gonna say something else, but that's actually a perfect spot to end it.
All
So I'm
right.
glad we did
Well,
this. This was
me too.
fantastic. This was
Thanks,
fun.
everyone.
Hope you
This
guys
was a
have
blast.
enjoyed it. Get your winners in, get your
Yeah, let us
brackets
know.
filled out. Let us know who you have winning any of these rounds, not even
Yeah.
just our final rounds. Maybe your bracket looks totally different from ours. So
Yeah. I can't
maybe
wait to
some
see
of you
it.
guys have Courage the Cowardly Dog winning, in which case,
Get
like, I
it.
really want to hear your thoughts. Go for it.
Yeah,
Yeah, let's
exactly.
hear it.
Or yeah,
Yeah.
tag us on Instagram, like repost your final bracket too, and like tag
Hmm.
us in like your stories or, on your main feed or whatever too, so we can see your fully filled out bracket.
Yeah,
So
exactly. We'd be
sweet.
excited. Cool.
Well,
So thanks for
we'll
joining us for this Toon tangent.
see
It's
y'all
been a
for
while.
a regular episode
The
probably
main
soon.
episodes in a
Yeah,
couple days, probs. Yeah.
exactly. All right, bye.
Bye. Thanks for tuning in to Saturday Morning Mysteries.
If you enjoyed this episode, please share, rate, review, leave us a like, and drop a comment. We post episodes every Saturday and bonus Toon tangents whenever we feel like it. So please subscribe so you don't miss the shenanigans.
And if you want to follow us on YouTube, click the bell under the YouTube subscribe button to receive notifications when new videos are posted.
And if you want to subscribe to the podcast, we have no idea what you're listening to us on, so just hit the big subscribe button on whatever app you're using. We believe in you.
Give us a follow on Twitter and Instagram at SatmornMist, all the abreves, and let us know if you have any episode or show requests by emailing SaturdayMorningMysteries@gmail.com.
Thanks to Jenna Kendall for the logo design and to Ava Sakiki for the music used during this week's episode.
See y'all groovy kids next week on Saturday Morning Mysteries.